gun. The other friend is bound to a chair in the basement with a rag in his mouth in the City of Angels. You know, I lied to you, and you lied to me, and hey, your lies were good lies, some of the best lies you could possibly come up with at the time. They were well planned out, and it would cause me as much difficulty as possible. Yep, you sure dropped me like a broken mandolin, Jerry, but boy, did I learn a good lesson from that. I bided my time. Filled your glass, laughed at the jokes and all those impersonations you had to do bad tricks. You know, it's been a little emotional coming to this decision, Jerry, but if it was really that easy, everybody would be doing it. Now that I've overcome any lingering doubts, I can tell you it gives me a great deal of satisfaction to know that the golden days will soon be over. There'll be no more swinging in the trees, no more sliding on the ice. Looking at you now, I can honestly say I've never seen a man with so much fear in his eyes. You must be asking yourself, how did I get taken in? Well, let me put it to you this way. You've always been an incredibly confident individual, and you're always the guy that would never say no, and now you're in a terrible fix. You know, Jerry, I'm very fond of your wife. I want you to know that she'll be looked after in a wonderful state of mourning upon your abrupt demise. I'll be there to lend an ear and a comforting hand when needs be. She's a very beautiful woman, Jerry. She deserves a tender man's touch. Well, it's time for you to say goodbye, Jerry. Last drink, so to speak. You had your last scotch and dry, and you've rolled your last joint. You say a lot of pistachio down there for me, will you, old buddy? Kevin O'Mara, in a certain vintage and type of Australian life. Bit of an oversharer who likes having a yarn with just about anybody. Here he is, having a chat with a few blowings just over here at his local watering hole. My name's Kevin O'Mara. I've got three beautiful daughters. Three beautiful, intelligent daughters, Cheryl, Daphne and Wanda. Wanda made the podium at the Gold Coast Beauty Pageant. She went on to do the adverts for Bronze Glory Spray Tan. She did the adverts with her boyfriend, Terry. Terry, I wouldn't even call my pet mouse Terry. No, actually, I did call my pet mouse Terry. That's right. He was a hard-working little mouse Terry. He was always on the wheel. So feed him a few drops of Coca-Cola and round and round he'd go, burst into life. He's a good knockabout little bloke. He used to sit on the couch and watch the cricket. His favourite player was Merv Hughes. His little ears would prick up every time he came near the bowl. Anyway, one time I was there on the balcony and he was on the wheel having a good time and he just fell off the wheel. Cardiac arrest. 0-0-0, but it was all too hot. But it was a better death than Wanda's boyfriend, Terry. Wanda's boyfriend was one of the vainest blokes you've ever met. Always gazing at a mirror. Now, he wanted the whitest teeth on the Gold Coast. And he thought he'd do the bleaching himself. With normal bleach. Big mistake. He did end up choking to death. He couldn't smash the rocks on Terry. He's a bona fide bird brain. Now one of the dearly departed. I also have a son named Todd. Shit name Todd. I should have called him Trevor. Anyway, I think my son Todd fancies himself as daughter number 4. At the age of 5, he used to pop on a bit of lipstick and dance around in his sister's tutu. All paid off though. One of the most popular drag queens there is out there at the moment. The hard work's paid off. Deborah Del Berry, she goes by. Another one, her signature song, you've never seen anything quite like. But more than anything, I'm just happy that Todd doesn't take after his maternal grandfather, Dwayne. No, he's a bit of a dickhead, Dwayne. He used to drink Bundaberg rum and coke, but everything changed when he switched to wine. I thought he was sophisticated. I remember asking him one time, I said, "What's this Merlot you drink?" He said, "It's not Merlot, it's Merlot. You don't pronounce a T because it's French." Led to a major allocation. But he was already gone by then. He started wearing polo shirts instead of a whole set of bintang singlets I got him from Teddy. Started wearing sandals instead of thongs. I thought he was European. He's even going to start up his own wine company called G'day Chardonnay. There's even some Began, not a Bogan, you know. Began, they live at the Paris end of Bogan. A 19th century English opium trader has been asked to deliver a letter to Queen Victoria by the Chinese Imperial Commissioner. The letter pleads with the Queen to stop the English getting the Chinese addicted to opium. But will anything be done considering the Queen likes to take drugs herself? A lot of drugs. This is Lord Arlington Bangs talking to his friend who's a Duke. Of course we wanted to get the Chinese strung out on opium. I mean, it worked an absolute treat. In Queen Victoria, we were the biggest drug empire the world had ever seen. We weren't just going to let it disappear. More and more Chinese picked up the habit and the market really opened up before us. It was simply ours for the taking. I mean, by 1838 we were selling roughly 1,400 tons of opium per year to China. We were making an absolute fucking fortune. Then the Chinese Imperial Commissioner named Chairman Lin asked me to deliver a letter to Queen Victoria, so I travelled from Canton in China to Windsor Castle in England. I bowed to Her Majesty, who had quite the drug habit herself. I think there's more pharmaceuticals than a fucking chemist. After formalities were concluded, we then scubbed off to raid the medicine cabinet. We then proceeded to get ripped to the absolute gills on laudanum, cocaine, and a final whack of chloroform, which fucking nearly There's nothing quite like getting off your bean with the Queen. Royal Highness for nothing. I mean, you couldn't get any fucking higher. Anyway, after a few hours of indulgence, we then decided to read Chairman Lin's letter, which talked of the immorality and injustice of the British Empire getting the Chinese addicted to opium. Would we please stop? I mean, for God's sake, what on earth did you take it for? We're the biggest narcos the world has ever seen. There's not an opioid I would not or could not sell. Chairman Lin became all upset when we didn't reply to his letter as if we would. And then he became frightfully aggressive. One thing led to another and the first opium war began. We blew them sky high, of course, pretty sea power. I mean, come on, the poor things were a touch naive about their chances, wasn't it? So for our troubles, we imposed a very unequal Treaty of Nanking, getting pretty much what we wanted. Opening up more ports for trade, etc., and thus putting China onto a pathway to a century of humiliation, conquest, and exploitation. And for me, it all went quite well, to be honest. Bought myself numerous estates and really had the most marvellous of times. I don't think the Chinese are much to worry about. I can't see them building a navy and taking over the oceans. But all it's gone by then. So if we poke the dragon, we poke the fucking dragon. There's nothing worse than a sports commentator that talks for the whole sports industry. It doesn't the athlete say a single word. Even if it's the #1 tennis player who hails from Queensland, down in Hazelwood. Now Dan, I just want to congratulate you on winning the Golden Grand Slam. You know, 4 Grand Slams plus an Olympic gold medal all in the same year is simply out of the Richter scale. I mean, this time last year you were ranked in the 60s, struggling to get past the 3rd round with a solid yet conventional baseline game. Now you're the most feared player the world has ever seen. I believe how someone do with your backhand or lack thereof. The ever time you off a tennis court as a 5-year-old running around his backhand, winding up and trying to hit the cover off the damn ball with the biggest forehand swing in the known universe. Like he got the power of a great God. And the backhand has become like some kind of deadly disease or place in the rest of the body. That's not being to say that your forehand is not one mighty piece of work. I mean, my God competed harder than a cannonball. The precision of a gun barrel. That does not mean to say they can't hit the occasional backhand. I don't give a goddamn if it's slice, top spin, or flat. I just want to see if you can bring a bit of razzmatazz to the racket on the right side. Bit of fine defend the forehand, bit of gravitas to the weak guy on the ground. Loving the forehand's dropping mad. I don't want anything to take away from that serve of yours that comes down like lightning from the heavens and puts a hole in the racket of your opponent. I mean, it has more heat than a volcano about to blow. It's got me thinking that it may well be a message from Beelzebub himself. Told the devil and he placed the sins of all mankind in that little yellow bowl and it came flying from your racket like the eternal flames of hellfire. Besides that there, Dan, I just want to wish you all the best for your second round match. Kevin. Kevin just got back from the surf club where he's been organising the raffle. And he's chatting about his middle daughter Cheryl. There was a certain particular kind of relationship with the truth. And he's still having a chat with these three blowings at the local pub. Oh look, I had a bit of a rough trot with my middle daughter Cheryl. She went missing at the age of 17. She left us a note saying she thought she could do better. My wife had no idea what she meant, Bernadette. She's beside herself. But I knew what she meant. She always thought she's a little better than us, Cheryl. Bloody sniff at everything. Anyway, years went by, not a word. And then I just so happened, went down to Sydney for a holiday. And there she was, our long lost daughter, Cheryl O'Mara. And there we were, the two parents that had brought her up. Took her to Ayers Rock, the big pineapple. Went to her favourite acts, Olivia Newton-John and Banana Rama. It was never bloody good enough, was it? I'm grateful little. I said, Kevin, calm down. Focus on your breathing like the monks do in Tibet. I was as angry as a horse with an itchy nose. Then she started to speak. And she sounded aristocratic. She said my father was a successful banker for a time in London. She was now going by the name Isabella Bouvier. She said her name was descended from the French aristocracy dating back to before the little bloke Napoleon. She was asked. I mean, you couldn't make it up. But she did make it up. So I went over and I said, Cheryl, it's your father. You've never seen anyone turn a whiter shade of pale. This was Cheryl's Waterloo. I said, what are you going to say for yourself, love? Then she said, to her friends who are absolutely bloody stunning, they're all from the Rose Bay set. She said, ladies, this is my father, Sir Kevin the Bouvier. I thought the height of that young lady to give a whole new identity to her very own father. Then I looked at all her friends and they're absolutely bloody stunning. And I looked impressed. And then I thought, well, Sir Kevin the Bouvier does sound quite catchy. Then the lies started just flying out of me. I said I've received my knighthood from the Queen. That's what I used to call her Liz. And we both bonded over the fact that we had a pet corgi named Neville. None of it ever bloody happened. I just couldn't help myself, but the girls loved it. I was the man of the moment, let me tell you, they're calling me Sir Kev. Then I looked at my daughter Cheryl. She looked as proud as punch. Oh, she did. And then she said, Oh, I'm just like you, Dad. I said, that's right, I'm a bloody bullshitter. Ariel Hershowitz does not believe that he's been created by me. That he's a completely different character entirely. But is he correct? Oh my God! Hamish McCloud is trying to steal my identity for his format. He thinks I'm just a fictional character he's created for a one-man show. A series of vignettes. Look, I know I might show some of the symptoms of multiple identities. Let me tell you, this is not a strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is something I have no expertise in whatsoever. I'm not just going to turn into him. He's just imposed himself upon my life and he's going to hang me out to dry. If I don't get to the bottom of it within 4 minutes, oh my God, it's like some kind of sick joke. Let's move on to the next vignette. Here I am, joking to death. He's a smug ass. Excuse my language, I don't usually swear, but these are very difficult circumstances. Have you heard of this happen to someone? Is there a solution? It's highly metaphysical. I simply cannot take any longer. Crowd eyeing me up with some kind of curiosity. Some kind of extinct animal. Fucking dodo. I'm a brilliantly complex and nuanced human being. Enlightened will not be too far off the mark, let me tell you. I go swimming 3 times a week. I watch Swedish movies. I read Kafka. He's gonna make me out like I'm some kind of satirical character with a passion for psychoanalysis and God knows what else. I'm not some agitating, anxiety-ridden nutcase on the verge of a breakdown. It infuriates me. Hamish Bartolome McCloud. The best I can do is if he improvises on stage. The filthy fucking little rat. Hamish Bartolome McCloud. It sounds like such a poetic and Scottish name when really he's just an Anglo-Celtic Australian mongrel. Oh yes, Ariel, like you would say. I don't know which I'm going to put you in order for this song. Maybe I'll put you next to Kevin O'Mara. Kevin O'Mara. I'll be next to Kevin O'Mara. I don't want to come after Kevin O'Mara. Let me go. God. He thinks he's a great polymath, a genius on a par with the greats of Renaissance. I don't know who he reminds me more of. Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci. Please shoot me now, the catastrophically deluded megalomaniac. And he has the gall to think that he created me. His own little character like Porky Pig or Daffy Duck. Looney Tunes, I'll fucking give him Looney Tunes in a speaker. His narcissism disorder is so profound, one day he's going to super glue his face to a fucking mirror. I've spent years in therapy trying to justify my existence, and now he pulls this on me, pulling me out like a circus performer to tap dancing off a storm. But who mindset? I'm just a script, a bundle of words, ink on a page. The greatest thing he ever created. Oh my God, I just said he created me! Completely insane. I can't imagine what's going on. Jack Robbins is a talk show host who brings onto his program the infamous or notorious actor known as Clint Wayne, who's known for his bigoted opinions and tough guy persona. But does Clint Wayne show another side? Sorry, does Jack Robbins show another side to Clint Wayne? It would have been an absolute pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to the program tonight one of the biggest movie stars of the modern era. He made his name as one of the hardest and toughest gunslingers of the Wild West. Two-time Oscar nominee, a true icon of the silver screen. I was so looking forward to welcoming Clint Wayne to the program, and what a pity it is that it's just no longer possible. There are so many marvellous moments that I would have loved to ask him about, such as the epic shootout and how the West was fun, and fighting the Indians with his typical bravado and insurmountable courage. And also how the West was fun. And of course he also lived the life of a rugged outdoors man by doing tough and manly things such as rounding up the cattle on his silver brumby named Smokey and chopping wood surrounded by wild coyotes. Despite his reputation as a beat-em-up, shoot-em-down cowboy and hard-drinking whiskey man, there is some evidence to suggest that the contrary may at least be partially true. As it's now come to light, ladies and gentlemen, that photos were taken of Clint wearing a pink tiara, a matching pink floral dress, on the set of a fistful of 5-cent pieces, and a rather fetching white blouse and fluorescent pink miniskirt on the set of The Good, the Bad, and the Stupid. When told these things backstage, and that we were going to do an expose on him titled Clint Wayne Under the Pink Tiara, unfortunately Clint jumped out of the window and is now in a critical condition in hospital. And although the news is rather sad, it does give me the smallest amount of satisfaction to know that Clint, who was a gay-hating racist, very strong ties to the NRA and KKK, has literally and metaphorically fallen flat on his fucking face. Anyway, that's all we have time for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please join us on the show next week where I'll be interviewing John Eastwood. For myself and all the team, it's a very good night. Bluebell is having lunch with her husband, Randall John, and her closest friends, Vivian and Sandy Stone, when she catches them involved in the menage a trois behind her back, and Bluebell plans revenge. I was sitting down with my husband, Randall John, and our closest friends, Vivian and Sandy Stone, when I caught Vivian with her hand wrestling lightly on the knee of Randall John, my best friend's hand on the knee of my husband. In a millisecond, all the suspicions that I had had for all those years nearly exploded out of my head. Being rather polite, I excused myself and went to the bathroom. I had no idea what I should do. Then the perfect plan just popped into my head. I opened up the old trunk and found a book I had ordered all those years ago titled How to Poison People in Less Than 5 Minutes. When I got back from the bathroom, there was Vivian with one hand on the knee of Randall and the other hand on the knee of Sandy. And the words came into my head. Menage a trois. I could sense it was all about to reach some incredible sexual climax and that I was some kind of unwanted intruder in my very own house. You could cut the tension with a knife. "Have champagne," I said. Trying to act as if nothing was wrong. I went into the kitchen. Luckily, I had all the ingredients for the poison. I put the ingredients together whilst getting the champagne ready on a tray. I went back into the room and they each took a glass. Upon taking a sip, they started gulping like fish out of water. And they turned this rather incredible shade of green. "We've been poisoned," said Randall John. Sandy then stared at me accusingly, to which I replied with the smallest of smiles. Known for my humility, I didn't want to parade around the room in triumph. I wanted to keep it somewhat respectful. Vivian then lunged at me, knowing that death was going to deny her a chance of fulfilling her sexual fantasy with Randall John and Sandy, but it was all too late. We dragged the bodies out into the yard. I then dug one large hole and I placed them all on the road. They looked so picturesque. Then I filled in the grave. Then I sprinkled some coriander seeds on top, as coriander represents lust. Wow. Have you ever seen coriander grow so quickly? Within weeks, I had set up my own market stall, and the reputation of my cookies grew far and wide. I made an absolute killing. Mario's just bought another round for his mates, a few blow-ins, and he's talking about his youngest daughter, Daphne, who's borderline puritanical. She's just become engaged to a born-again evangelical Christian named Daryl Wayne Abbott. Unlike my middle daughter Cheryl, my youngest daughter Daphne, she's never told a lie in her life. She's borderline puritanical. She's been a God botherer since the age of 5. She used to walk around the house singing little hymns to the Lord. I think she was in love with the bloke. Anyway, she ended up becoming engaged to a born-again evangelical Christian named Daryl Wayne Abbott. With a name like that, he sounds like he robbed a fucking bank. He wasn't bright, Daryl. If he was a light bulb, he'd be undeniably dim. He had an IQ lower than room temperature. Anyway, he used to go on his rants or his sermons about the good book, and I'd wind him up a bit. One time he completely flew right off the handle. And he said, Kevin, change your attitude to the Saviour and the Lord, alright, okay? Or you won't be meeting Jesus, the Father, and the Son, okay? You'll have no chance of living there, mate, okay? And then I said, Joe, why would I want to live with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost? I could not think of anything bloody worse. They'd be holier than thou. And besides, I don't know what happens when you die. Maybe nothing happens when you die. Maybe you end up in purgatory for a spell. And the fire's straight back. Purgatory? There's no such, that's all fucking bullshit. No. There's no such thing as purgatory. Believe you me, Kevin. There's no such thing as purgatory. I said, Kevin, give the blood. Kevin, that's my name, don't fucking crazy. We'll do that too. I said, Daryl, give it a bloody rest, mate. I said, I don't know if I'm going up or down or bloody round and round. I could be reincarnated. No one knows, son. And then he said, don't call me son. All right, okay? The only son was born in a manger. Jesus Christ, the only one and only, mate. Give yourself to them, okay? Or St. Peter or St. Joseph or one of those fucking people won't let you through the gates of heaven. I said, Daryl, I'd bribe St. Peter to get out of the fucking place, mate. And if that didn't work, I'd kick God in the nuts and leap over the fence. I'd be jumping for joy. Fredo Fratelli. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back with you. Fredo Fratelli. He's a wise guy. He's coming clean to his wife about all the terrible things that he has done. Nancy, I have to come a little clean on a few things. I'm not quite the man that you thought that I was. I first met your cousin Genevieve at your Aunt Fran's house, and we really started to hit it off. One thing led to another, and I felt so guilty about my brief moment of weakness with your cousin. I developed a serious drug habit to numb the pain. One time I was chucking up some cocaine on the kitchen table. And in walked our daughter-in-law, the beautiful Anne-Marie. And I offered a few lines of cocaine and one thing led to another. Before I knew it, the dress was down by your ankles and she was undoing my belt buckle, but I can assure you there is no longer anything going on. I think it's best that you don't tell our son. He'd be a little upset, I understand why you would be. Anyway, speaking of family, your father's death wasn't exactly a mystery. We were having a crossword over the Broncos game, and he called me a smart, and there was some cream cheese bagel on my head, which I didn't appreciate. So I threw a bag of pretzels back at his head. And he called me a low-life dirtbag. And then one thing led to another. And then I got out of grandfather's diamond-studded ashtray. And one blow led to another. And then I didn't know what to do with the body, so I contacted my good friend, Frankie Barretti, who works at the city crematorium. So I got him to do a little job for me. Speaking of death, the little chihuahuas, they always used to think they were a little bigger than me. They'd walk around the house. Everyone called them Rocky and Balboa. So we used to get arguments all the time, and I say, you leave the room. They told me to leave the room. And so at some point, I just had enough. So I got a Hessian sack and I put them in the sack. And then I tied up the sack, and then I took them to the end of the pier, and then I pulled them up the pier, and there was some right at the bottom. And look, there's no dog thief in the neighborhood, Nancy. I completely made it up. So I thought I'd make it up to you. So you know how much I like chocolate, and I think it's funny. Anyway, I saw them on special 59 cents to the supermarket. Done 2 months past the use by date. Anyway, my curiosity got the better of me, and I started to help myself to the hazelnut caress, the caramel charm, the nut secret. And then it dawned on me, they only had a Turkish delight left. So I only ate half of it. So, when you open up the box, you see the waiting there especially for gold. I think it's pure gold. So, oh, Nancy, please, I'm so sorry. I really want you to look out the box. I'm going to go to the Broncos game, so I'll catch you later. At the bottom of the sinking ship, minutes from there, Vincent Van Price finds himself in a very difficult position when a mysterious character named Cortez, a representative of the devil, offers him a contract from hell. Vincent Van Price, you have never met me, sir. My name is Cortez, and I'm here to offer you some advice. Now, you don't have to take my advice, but I believe it's very important that you do. Now, the ship you're traveling on has hit an iceberg and is starting to sink. As we're in the lower cabins now filling with water, escape would appear to be a virtual impossibility, with death arriving in approximately 4 minutes. Now, you have shown the occasional good characteristic in this life, sir, such as kindness and compassion. Yet let us not be fooled, sir, as to the overall balance of your actions and thoughts, which even a blind man can see is heavily weighted to the side that suggests that where you're going, you must have been below. Now, talk to the devil about your position, he says he'd like to have you, and has decided you'd be most befitting the circle of hell titled greed. Although, if you're willing to sign a devil's contract I have in my hot little hand before your death, the devil will upgrade you to the new circle of hell titled duplicity, which he thinks could also be for you. Now, let me be very, very direct. You have shown the occasional good characteristic in this life, such as kindness and compassion. Let us not be fooled throughout to the overall balance of your actions and thoughts, which even a blind man can see is heavily weighted to the side that suggests that where you are going, you must abandon the hope. Is there any hope? Are there any people of wayward disposition that have managed to miraculously cheat the odds and make their way through the gates of heaven after acting like a complete fuckwit their whole life and only think about themselves? Well, you really have to wait and see till the moment of death. So there's an opportunity here to sign the contract and get ahead of the game. Now we've got less than 4 minutes and actually 2.5 minutes left. Now would you like to sign the contract? I don't need to hear all the details, but you're saying that you've converted to Buddhism. Reincarnation is a completely different contract. Just give me 30 seconds. Career criminal Archie Lester has been planning the perfect train robbery, and he wants his nephew, Percival, as part of the team. You know, it's not very easy trying to get a dream team together to pull off the perfect train robbery. One such individual I had my eye on was my nephew, Percival, who just got out after a short time in the clinic. He was contemplating a life in the straight and narrow, like his father who came before him, which I found quite repulsive. We're fourth generation career criminals, for God's sake. I find even the mere suggestion of a law-abiding life in itself a family name. Besides, I wanted on the team for train robbery. So I thought I'd highlight to Percival the perils of a normal job. By bringing into our conversation how his father died working in the processing plant. Apparently he had a loss of concentration. Not ideal when you're working with a meat grinder. His death was quite horrific. His screams apparently were those of nightmares. Nothing short of tragedy. Then I said, but some believe that your father ran foul of London's most famous psychopath, John the Animal Prescott. I said I wouldn't want to start a war with John the Animal. However, if you came to the conclusion that he was responsible for your father's untimely and demonic demise, I would always have your back. See, I wanted to see if revenge may be on the mind of young Percival, as revenge and organised crime go very much hand in hand. Then I made the pitch to get him into the criminal side of the family, which has been led very successfully by yours truly, Archie Lester. I said, perhaps I can bring you into something way bigger than anything you could possibly dream of. Personally. As on the morning of the 19th of July, we'll rob the northbound train heading to Glasgow with over £15 million. With ours young Percival as part of the team. He's nothing quite like family. But I haven't always been a very good judge of character. It's a serious blind spot. Harry Auschwitz. He doesn't want to talk to me, let me tell you. Harry Auschwitz believes that I'm putting him on a double bill with Kevin O'Mara. Ariel tells this to Kevin. Kevin thinks he's completely insane. Kevin thinks it's all in his head. Oh my God, Kevin! Hamish McLeod is wanting to put us on a double bill titled The Kevin and Ariel Show. It's the wrong way around. It should be titled The Ariel and Kevin Show. I'm from one of the cultural centers of the entire planet. And you're from Queensland, so... Colonial outpost where they eat bananas all day. But Hamish McLeod, he won't be able to pull off writing this script. He's a complete desperado. Success eludes him entirely. Hamish Bard told me McLeod as in poet or storyteller. He's really not much of a poet or a storyteller. Ariel, I've got no idea what you're talking about, mate. Hamish Bard told me McLeod, I've never heard of the bloke. But I know the original Bard well. To be? Or not to be? That is a question. That's Cleopatra in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Billy Wobbledacker. William Shakespeare. No, it's not, Kevin. It's the character Hamlet and play the same name. But he's also not exactly like William Shakespeare, but he still jumps from one character to another on the stage. Yeah. Now it's true, and then he turns into me. I mean, someone, and that's not even there at all. You'd be sitting as a fucking lunatic, wouldn't you? My God. I'm right here, mate. I can see you as clear as day. You're all wound up like a bloody clock. I can see what you need. You need a few weeks on the Queensland beach. I got just a trick. It's a wonderful product named Bond's Glory Spray. I'll sell you a pack of 10, 25% discount. Mark my word, you look absolutely fantastic. You're very pale, mate. There's no doubt about it. Fuck off, Captain. I don't exist. Hamish McLeod doesn't exist. We're just two characters in some absurd kind of play or comedy. I know what it is. It's by James Joyce. Waiting for Godot. No, it's by Samuel Beckett and it's Waiting for Godot. You don't pronounce it T because it's French. Why do the French even bother about the fucking T? Just give me a second, Arrow. You know, mate, how are you? I want to place a few bets. Royal winning, race number 1, race number 2. Race number 1, I'm having a breakdown. Race number 2, call the police. Both trained by a very good mate of mine, Jim O'Reilly, the one and only. Says they both love a dry track. Name of those horses again, I'm having a breakdown, call the police. No, don't call the police. No, horses. I'm having a breakdown, call the police. Just call the police. Don't literally call it. I'll give it to you one more time, mate. I'm having a breakdown, call the police. I'm having a breakdown, call the fucking police. I want the number for Men's Helpline. What the fuck are you talking about? They're towing my car. You're having a crack at about culture to me, mate. I've just been reading a book. I've read many fucking books. I've read 4 in the last 10 years. Just reading a book about one of the French artists. He was part of the Impressionists. One of the famous water lilies. Claude Monet. So in regards to architecture, I mean, you might have the statute of limitations. You've done the Sunshine Coast, mate. We got one of the great architectural works of the 20th century. Big Pineapple. And as for cultural icons, we got Dan Hazelwood, the world #1 tennis player. Hails from Urraca, only 200 k's south of Longreach. I used to play tennis a little bit back in the day.
Yes, mate.
Played in the qualifying at Kudong. Lost to a young American bloke, Jimmy Collins. Oh, they're driving away from a car! wife Kenny had a criminal cover-up and escaping the authorities. Breaking the law does occasionally catch up with Bluebell. But when one door closes, another door opens. I always thought I was empathic. Apparently not. I was ordered to go do an extensive psychiatric assessment for a little side hustle I had, stealing old age pensions. The big deal was they were all going to die anyway. Just jack up the morphine and let them be gathered by the heavens. Whilst I put my hand in the accounts. Life is for the living. Anyway, the doctor to whom my assessment was Alistair Wilmot. He was fresh out of Princeton and had that Ivy League glow about him. And he just recently written a groundbreaking work on sexual temptation amongst the criminally insane. It was right up my alley. And with each week I just sat a little closer to our sessions. Till one week he fell prey to a gentle hand on the leg by Bluebell. The whole thing was caught on camera and leaked on the net. Over 50 million views on pornlover.com. But before I ended up completely destroying his career, he did suggest that buying a pet may make me more empathic and connect on an emotional level with other humans. So I bought myself a Mexican walking fish named Claudette. But Claudette was all about control. She used to sit on top of a rock in a tank and say, "Why are you trying to outstare me, you psychopathic amphibian bitch?" She was psychotic. So I then bought an ant farm. The whole colony turned against me. 2,000 of them. So I drowned them all. I'm not even going to talk about Perry, the praying mantis. I didn't see him praying once. For good 2 years, my homicidal tendencies were kept in check, and to that I owe the doctor a great deal of gratitude. Fredo Fratelli, the wise guy, has a wayward moral compass. No, that's the wrong way of saying it. He has no moral compass. He's always gotten away with it, up until he meets Bluebell in a bar in Savannah, Georgia. I was at a bar in Savannah, Georgia. I was dancing around. My dancing caught the eye of an attractive brunette named Bluebell. And soon we started chatting a little bit. Soon she showed all those telltale signs that her attraction to me had become a little of a woman. But I had some hesitation in regards to going back to her apartment because, well, I just come clean to my wife Nancy about all the terrible things that I've done. But at the same time, I thought that I should get a reward for being so honest to me. So I decided to go back to her apartment and I was dancing around. She's loving the dancing. Dance for hours, you know. But then I started to slow my words and see double. And then I realized that she tied me up in the bed and I was naked and I was covered in glitter. Which I thought was a little interesting. See, sex with my wife Nancy is a little bit conventional. My excitement started to disappear when people left the room and went into the bathroom and I heard her start up a chainsaw. And I got a little nervous. I think you can understand why I would be. And then I managed to handle myself and escape. So I'm getting a little emotional. You know, my life was in danger. You know, I never hurt nobody. Maybe 1 or 2 people. Not a 2, not a 10 people. I killed 20 people, but this is me. This is me in my life. She was wanting to take my life away from me. No more eating spaghetti and meatballs with my family. It's all too much. I'm sorry. I've got to go. Daryl Wayne Abbott finds himself on a talk show with Jack Robbins to chat about his #1 country Christian rock record titled Straight From Heaven. It's an absolute pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to the program tonight Daryl Wayne Abbott, a born-again evangelical Christian who's just brought out a #1 country Christian rock record titled Straight From Heaven. He's co-written the songs, supposedly, with the Father, the Son and the Holy Ghost. But there have been some rather damning allegations about you, Daryl, in regards to the use of accounts, particularly an account called the Account for Jesus. Well, look, all I've done is set up an account for Jesus and stated very clearly that upon buying my record, you can also make a donation into the account of Jesus because they're in urgent need of repairs in the kingdom of heaven. All right, okay. But there have also been, it also says that in the small print upon buying your record, that if you don't make a donation into the kingdom of heaven, that you'll spend eternity in the burning flames of hellfire. That does sound like a threat to me. Hey, don't fucking start me, please! All I've done is set up an account for Jesus, alright? It's very simple. With decisions there are consequences. I was just trying to help the bloke out. Jesus was a carpenter, we all know that, but he's a useless fucking plumber, mate. The kingdom of heaven, it's old, mate. Rusty pipes, you name it. The Father and the Son, the Holy Ghost, they're struggling, mate, let me tell you. They've had a leaky tap for months on end. They're fucking ropeable. A donation from your show wouldn't go astray, mate. Okay? They're struggling. Thou shalt give us. I don't think you like that. Find the Lord or fuck off, mate. Oh, you look like a man of compassion. Well, you do. I'm sure you'd like to make a donation into the kingdom of heaven. Well, you dig deep for me, mate. 5,000 will do. Oh, thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. You okay? I'll give you the BSB count, BSB number first, mate, 8585. That number again, 8585. The account number, 347. That number again, 3417. Do it straight away, mate. Get your phone out. Well, I certainly won't be getting my phone out, ladies and gentlemen, because it's just been found out that Daryl Wayne Abbott has used the money from the account of Jesus to buy a brand new house in Miami. So, there it is. Another race to the bottom on the Jack Robbins show. I don't know who will be having the show next week, but for myself and the team, and everyone else here tonight, it's a good night. Thank you. Good night, Mara. Loves animals, but not all animals. He's chatting with a few blowers here. We have a few visitors on the ground. Welcome to Kerry, the two kookaburras. Oh, they're very charismatic. Very confident, they're charmers. We also have Edith, the echidna. Oh, she's a little battler, Edith. She chips away at life. Has her own little patch of dirt. She's an icon of the neighbourhood. He's also got Reggie, the red-dodging redback. Lives in a tool shed. Thinks he knows it, he won't fuck off. Just get out and leave. Anyway, one time I was at the beach, beautiful sunset, and I was just philosophising about life. Is that a word? You know what I mean, about life. Rumination. Fuck. Anyway, I was sitting there, and lo and behold, just right to my right hand side was this big blue swimmer crab. And he was doing the same thing. He was that kindred spirit, and he looked up and he gave me a knowing look. So I went over and gave him a bit of a friendly tap on the head with my foot. And then he grabbed my toe with his claws and he fucking wouldn't let go, so I was trying to get him off my foot. I eventually did, but I was soaking wet. And then he just proceeded to stand there just like before. He was sociopathic. Speaking of sociopathic animals, Daryl Wayne Abbott. See, after he got caught stealing all the money on the Jack Robbins show, my daughter Daphne gave him a flick. But he somehow won Daphne back. And I was like, no, shit no, stay away from the blokes. She said, he's changed, Dad. I said, echidnas don't change their spikes. She said, echidnas do change their spikes, Dad. I said, you know what I mean? Anyway, Kevin came round and he said, I'm alright with your daughter, alright, Kevin? Okay, alright? I said, don't okay, alright, me, Daryl. He was a genuine mongrel cross between a flog and a fuckwit. Anyway, he ended up having an affair, leaving my daughter.
Oh, stop it.
But the person he was having an affair with was a bigger swindler than Daryl, ended up taking all his money. Serves him bloody right. Archie Lester has pulled off the perfect train robbery. So what went wrong? Here he is talking to his nephew person. For 5 years I planned the perfect train robbery. And all went like bloody clockwork. Got off the train, we got the 15 pounds and presto, we pulled off the impossible. And all you had to do was keep a bloody mouth shut. And if you did that, we wouldn't be sitting in Wakefield prison eating porridge for the next 10 years. We could have been a foot massage in Barbados. But as soon as you got the money, you went to the pub and shut the bar. The following day, you bought yourself a portion of it. Pinstripe suit with flaming copper. You don't think that it's the least bit suspicious that a bloody plumber and a few quid of it, you start acting like a multi-fucking millionaire 3 days after the biggest train robbery in human history. They smell a fucking rat. Of course they smell a fucking rat. You meant to lay low just as we fucking talked about. You just stand out like a canary in a coal mine. The authorities followed you from pub to pub. They had all the information they needed to lock my baby door and the whole thing unravelled. I was planning a whole new life for myself at the Narco. Even had the elocutions lessons. But hello, sir. Hello, sir. How do you do, sir? I could have done it down. But instead of saying, the world's going to be a shithole for the next 10 years of my life, if I do devise a plan to get out of it, you won't be saying a funny word.
Yeah.
Poor Kevin O'Mara has no idea that Bluebell has nearly mastered the art of trapping the unsuspecting victim. Tragedy seemed to follow me everywhere. I needed a clean break, so I decided to travel in Queensland in search of a lovable larrikin, a you-beaut, she'll-be-right Aussie. And there he was, just having a cold one at his local watering hole. I said, "Hi, I'm Bluebell. It looks like you've just come down from the top end and now you're just knocking one back. G'day, love. Oh, yeah, it's Kevin. Kevin O'Mara. Just got back from the surf club. We just had the raffle. Didn't quite get the win, but that's all right. Perhaps my life's about to change. Well, you're my kind of knockabout Aussie bloke. And you're more than a bit of a right, you're a stunner. Has anybody told you that? An absolute bloody knockout. You have a transatlantic sophistication. I'd like to buy you a drink. I'd imagine you like the Chardonnay. It's a big hit here. Oh, Kevin, you flatter me. The drink sounds to die for. I'm not bad at making them myself. What, you used to own a vineyard? No, I just used to own a little book titled How to Make a Cocktail in Less Than 5 Minutes. I'm sure you're a lady of many talents. Anyway, we went back to her apartment. It was all right with my wife Bernadette. We decided on open marriage. I had her on Gilroy Bart, the mechanic, for years and years. So I thought I might give it a crack myself. Anyway, I was getting all geared up. The chemistry between us was reaching fever pitch. Bluebell was making up the cocktail. Oh, Kevin, you're gonna love this cocktail. I can get wickedly creative. It's a slight variation on a cocktail made famous by the novelist Ernest Hemingway titled Death in the Afternoon. Same murky green colours in the stream river the kind where crocodiles lurk in its shadows. It's bound to get you in the mood to battle with a wild reptile. I'm feeling danger's your middle name. I'm a wild reptile for you, love. I'm a wild one, alright? Getting all geared up, feeling $1 million, moving a bit to the music, make myself look like a fair dinkum catch. Cocktail came like a ton of drink. She spiked the bloody drink. Came to my senses just as I realised she tied me up on a boat going down a river. I said, what the bloody hell's going on, love? Well, I wanted to see if a you-good Aussie bloke could go one-to-one with a saltwater crocodile. I've been quite literal with Kevin about fighting wild reptiles, but he thought I was being sexually playful. He's a little slow on the tape, poor Kevin. Too many hours in the Queensland sun. Anyway, I was getting a little worried. My hands all tied up behind my back, to be honest. What are you bloody on about, love? You're a prehistoric man-eating fucking animal. And I looked across and I saw this huge croc just pop his head up. God, that's the enemy. Completely fucked. Just then I realised I knew the crocodile. The bloody crocodile was burning. It's a mate of mine. So I go fishing for barramundi on the same stretch of river. Like a big bastard burning, an interesting character. Don't stretch the riverbank where he gets the morning sun. Also has a bit of a temper. The other crocs are fucking shit scared of the bloke. To make matters worse, he's also a fussy eater, but he can only catch fish, the occasional small crab. He's basically bloody hopeless. So I throw a few barramundi off the side. Anyway, Bluebell untied me and then I was dipped in the water. I gave Vernon a wink. Gave me a wink back. I swam to shore as right as rain. Devil Wayne Evans lost all his money. He's facing criminal charges. And he thinks the only way he can work his way back is by becoming an actor and winning an Oscar at the Academy Awards. And he figures he has to basically get acting lessons from the best in the business, Barry Stamp, who's the best acting coach going around. So he's Barry Stamp and our good mate Darryl Wayne Abbott. Alright Darryl, this is a real opportunity for you. This is a script about the jazz age, a time of excitement, optimism and real opportunity. I really want to bring you bring it alive. I'm going to go through it first, and then I want you to go through it after me, Daryl, okay? I know that you've been practicing. We have a crowd here, especially waiting for you to deliver an incredible piece of work. So I'm going to go first. We had everything to live for. The sky was the limit. We were riding the crest of a wave the world had never seen before. Fresh wind to blow away the old cobwebs. And she was a gem. Blue of the sky, the sun, and the ocean. We had hit the big time, and boy did we know. We bought a new apartment on the avenue, a country getaway in a beach house. For the first time in my life, I thought I was somebody. All right, Dal, what do you think you can give it a go? Oh, we had everything to live for. The sky was on limit. We were riding the crest of a wave the world had never seen before. Fresh wind to blow away the old cobwebs. And she was a gem, the blue of the sky, the sun, and the ocean. We'd hit the big time, and boy do we know it. Daryl, this is really about there's a slight undercurrent of aggression in the way that you present the work. Let's really get ourselves into the moment of the 1920s, into the decade of opportunity and excitement. Oh, we had everything to live for. The sky was the limit. Riding the crest of a wave the world had never seen before. Fresh wind to blow away the fucking cobwebs. And she was a gem, the blue of the sky, the sun, and the ocean. We'd hit the big time. And boy, we know it. We bought an apartment on the avenue. Country fucking getaway. Alright. Kevin O'Mara. This is last week. Kevin O'Mara, Crane's cane toad. His favourite cane toad is Sherry. He's just about to win a third national hopping championship. I couldn't be proud of my cane toad, Sherry. She's just about to win her third consecutive cane toad national hopping championship. She's elite in every way. We focused on giving her diet on champions, based on the winners in the surf life-saving and the Coolangatta Gold. She's a world-class athlete, now starting to get the attention she deserves. Sherry said to me, she's only a little cane toad, she said she wants to go by the name of Cherie instead. She thinks it'll be more marketable on a global scale. I said, Cherie, you don't think you're getting a bit ahead of yourself, love? I said, even though you're a champion cane toad on the top of the sporting pack, you're not proving very marketable on a global scale. Anyway, then Cherie vanished. Someone had taken Cherie. Well, I first met Cherie when she was with Kevin at the pub, and straight away I knew that we were kindred spirits, highly successful, driven, and in our own individual way, genuine female trailblazers. Bluebell and Cherie. It has motion picture written all over it. Now, I was a little upset when Kevin escaped the crocodile. Really sat with me, so I decided to kidnap Cherie or take Cherie on a cross-country trip to Oodnadatta. A name like that will bound to have fun in Oodnadatta. When we got there, there's really nothing there at all. I looked across at Cherie and she gave a few croaks in disappointment. And then she stopped eating entirely. So I just had to call Kevin. Kevin, it's Cherie. I'm with Bluebell. She stopped eating entirely. I've tried everything. Bugs, corn chips, the Coolangatta Gold diet. I'm beside myself. Everybody listen here, love. First you try getting me eaten by a saltwater crocodile. And then you steal my little mate Cherie. There is fuck all in Oodnadatta. She needs to be back before the national championship. So So I booked a first-class flight back to Queensland. I waved goodbye as she hopped off into the departure zone. First class, nothing but the best for our little queen. Cherie made the most of first class, all right. In fact, she had a bit of a blowout. Expensive case for a Kanto. Couldn't believe it. Had 10 serves of the smoked salmon and caviar. 5 serves of chocolate Haagen-Dazs ice cream. And then she drank 5 bottles of the Dom Perignon champagne. She's only a little Kanto. Apparently she got the hiccups and then passed out and they had to carry her off the plane. Anyway, she got back and there were a few issues along the way, such as she got caught trying to steal a bottle of the Dom Perignon champagne at the local bottle shop. We're still back on track and soon I was really ready to build up her career. I was determined more than ever and I tried to get her on a Nike commercial and then I tried Adidas. But I didn't quite get the call back. Now look, I don't want to be politically incorrect, but the truth is that cane toads are as plain as the day is long and Cherie's no exception. I got in trouble saying that to a journalist from an inner city Melbourne publication. They said my language wasn't outrageous. They weren't outraged, but they found it was problematic. I said, all right then. Why don't I say that Cherie's not exactly beautiful? Then he said, why don't you say that she's not quite beautiful, Kevin? I said, well, that would suggest she's close to beautiful, and it couldn't be further from the fucking road. She's a cane toad, for Christ's sake. Anyway, and then I said to him, all right, mate, I trained the most beautiful, stunningly glorious and glamorous cane toad Cherie. And at that moment, the journalist became outraged. And I've now been banned by half the pubs in inner city Melbourne. That's all right. It's all a bit of theatre. Because all the world's a stage. And every man and woman has their entrances and their exits. That's a direct quote from Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get another character on the stage to give a final bow. That character's Hamish McLeod, so I'll be back.